You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called
off-season.
Electric word.
Off-season.
It means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else.
CFL Podcast Family.
A world of never-ending happiness. You can always
Get your football fix.
day or night.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Riley's in the shotgun, looking downfield, and then throws. It is up in the air to the goal line. Bounces. What a catch! What a catch by Duke Williams! Touchdown, Eskimos! Bryant Mitchell! It's going to be intercepted. Arjun Colhoun.
Mike appears to be a CFL encyclopedia.
Welcome back to the Turf District for the Eskimo Empire Podcast. We welcome back, of course, our title sponsor, United Construction Company. They are back for another season, so check out all the great builds that they do at unitedconstruction.ca. And, of course, thank you as well to Jeremy and Paul from United Construction that stopped by west of us this past week. Check out, of course, all of our links as well and social media on eskempire.ca. I'm Andrew, and joining me in the Turf District tonight is the one and only superfan, Mike.
I think I just finally warmed up.
I think that's, I don't know. We could have said we're actually recording from the igloo and been right this
Yeah, it's true.
this particular week. It's been a little crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a pretty good winter, let's be honest.
Yeah, so we're going to have a bad week, and it's February. That's what's supposed to happen.
And maybe in a week and a half, but...
well, you know.
as long as I'm not sitting outside with not being plugged in, we're all right.
Yeah.
So, like my car was.
You found a way to get here.
Yeah, I sure did.
Unfortunately, our little sister could not because her car is frozen to the ground. So
I understand.
That is unfortunate. We, of course, miss Kayla, but she did give us a few things to talk about.
Oh,
we will chat about later with our guest. Now, it's been a busy 2 weeks. We had West of Us after we last recorded, which was a great success.
Oh, it was a great time.
I want to say thanks to Kayla, actually, for all the hard work she did with the decorations and setting everything up.
Yep.
And you know, thanks to First Round, too, because that space is just awesome.
Yeah, it's a really inviting kind of space. It's great because it's right off the entrance, so you can't really miss it. And it fit us all perfectly. Right?
Yeah.
It seemed like it was just the right size for the group that showed up.
Yeah, and Kaylee is our server again from the last West of Us we had her. She's just amazing.
Yeah,
and
she's fantastic.
The only thing that we need to tell them next time, if we're going to come and have a party there, there's 4 words: garlic, Parmesan, waffle, fries.
I like all those words.
I know. They have to be, they need to fix that.
Yeah.
That has to be a special treat.
That was last time.
Exactly. We should say thanks as well to Confections Fresh Baked Treats. Easy for me to say.
Yes.
I like Add Janelle Bakes. It's easier for me.
That's true.
For, of course, bringing the amazing cupcakes. And then the cupcakes we got to we gave away doing heads and tails.
Yeah.
And
that
the cake that we gave away doing a great big rock, paper, scissors contest. It was a lot of fun.
It was a good day to be a West.
Yeah, it sure was. They did very well.
They won a lot of stuff.
They did. Those girls were on top of it all. Yeah, that was amazing.
How does it feel to get beat by a 10-year-old?
Well, in rock, paper, scissors, that happens quite a bit in my house, so I can't really say too much about that.
That's true.
You know, one thing that we haven't thanked at the end of the year, and I meant to, and I need to mark this in here. We need to thank our PayPal supporters.
Yes,
they were a big part of helping us actually get the West of Us party all decorated up and things like that. So I got to say thank you to Joe and Linda and Bill. They have contributed every month, and we really appreciate it. It really helps to keep us going. And they are all getting a Kwaku shirt to the new ones when they come in. So
that's awesome.
That's going to be exciting. Yeah. All right. Shall we get to our guests?
Yes,
we have a lot to talk about.
We do.
Our guests this evening, we are joined once again by our favorite Ched gang. It is the incomparable Morley Scott and Dave Campbell.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Lovely. You're just doing it that way? Come on now. Where's the right proper way?
We're silky smooth.
Hello, Leanne.
There it is. At the end, I hope that when I ask you for Twitter plugs, it's at Silky Smooth. That's what it really should be that by now.
At Silky Smooth.
This is where I put in the sploosh sound
That's
effect.
right. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Good to be here.
How are you guys doing?
Well,
I'm very good, thank you.
stupid weather.
Yes. Well, that is part of it. Yes, I know you're riding high.
I was
going to
say, you've got enough to keep you warm.
Yeah.
Six-pack, baby!
Yeah, 6 Super Bowl wins. For some of us, that's been around for a little while now.
I was thinking today, can you imagine being a 20-year-old sports fan in Boston?
Oh, that's all you know.
It's all you know is winning.
That would be
And then being a Leaf fan that's like, say, 50.
But you know what, though? I mean, the one thing that I kind of came to me as I was watching all this happen was, that would be like being an Edmonton fan in the early 80s. Right?
Yeah.
The hockey team won. The football team won. It was just like so. I could see where you
sure was.
Like, I know. I wasn't quite there, but I was around for it.
Yeah.
But it's just you understand now how there can be that long-filled rivalry of that team because they have so much success, right? And so you're right. Being 20-year-old in the middle of that, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just every year you got somebody else. I mean, what did they have? They had 6 Patriots plus 9 trips to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Six wins. A Bruins Stanley Cup. The Red Sox have won, 3 times? I think.
Yeah, I think
20?
it is.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's
It's amazing.
Yeah, Celtics haven't won in a while, but they've, I think they've won something the last 15 years.
Yeah, they have won at least one because they had Garnett there, right? So they had at least the one. So it's I know we're talking a different language. What? Mike's like,
Celtics?
Where's the football? What's going on?
I want to clarify something quickly.
Yes,
there are some Patriots fans that have only been around since 2002, their first title. I've been a Patriot fan since the early 90s when Drew Bledsoe came on this. You be quiet.
He remembers when they didn't cheat.
It's not cheating, it's bending. Like every other team does. Okay? Anyway. Bent the Steelers over a few times, too. Anyway, so I became a Pats fan because of a quarterback by the name of Drew Bledsoe. And at that time, the NFL was the snore league. It was the no fun league.
Yes.
And then Drew Bledsoe came out, was 45 of 70. And I went, a quarterback that throws the ball down the field? Because it really didn't happen. And I was hooked.
All right.
And that's when I became a Patriots fan. And they sucked a lot during the 90s.
That's true. We've all had those.
Those were the glory days. The rest of us call it that.
Nice. And hopefully they go back to that. I mean, that's all we're hoping.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, exactly. Morley, how's your off season?
You know what? It's been good. It's been uneventful. It's been pretty quiet.
Did you get away at all, or you're not yet?
No, I have not. Actually, I don't think I did. Can't remember. No, I have not been away yet as I scan the memory banks. I got a couple of weeks off coming up, but we're just going to make a quick little trip to Victoria to find some warmer temperatures and some
it's nicer
rain.
than here. So
yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be hot. It just has to be nicer than here. Which really don't have to go that far.
Bar set pretty low.
But yeah, no, it's been quiet. We're just hanging out.
Awesome.
Waiting for football season to start.
All right, fantastic. Well, let's shall we talk some Esks news first?
Yes.
And then we'll get into all these things that are coming up with free agents. I mean, there's so much to chat about. So now the Esks did sign some new guys, an international wide receiver, Bryce Bobo, international wide receiver, Anthony
Mahungu.
Thank you. I was hoping that you would remember how to say that. International linebacker BJ Clay, an international linebacker Caleb Bailey, and an international D lineman Ben Sorensen. Now,
I can confirm that BJ Clay is pronounced BJ Clay.
Okay, good. Well, that's fair. I'm glad you confirmed
just
that.
So there's no confusion.
Excellent. You chatted with him, made sure he had the right
no, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking it's
okay. Well, good. I'm glad. I can't wait till you guys have to call Mahungu because you gotta.
Better than the guy I felt for Bob Irving today in Winnipeg when I saw the name of the guy the Bombers signed.
Oh yeah, I had no idea.
Who is the guy that the Eskimos had a couple of years ago?
Sadiq Shabazz?
No, linebacker. He was with Saskatchewan for a while. All I know is that whenever I went to tweet his name, it always autocorrected toboggan. I can't.
That's a painful memory for me.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry, man.
That is a problem. There's Rabacumba was up there.
Oh, Bombamiga.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's true, yes. Yeah, Rob Akamba, I forgot about him too.
Rabacumba, Sadiq Shabazz was in there.
Oh, wow.
We had an Abanaconda for a while.
Abanaconda!
Ooh, see, now that one just sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like Kalima. Come on. We're all into Indiana Jones. That's perfect. Anyway, there's some some interesting guys in there, and I know you posted some of the highlights of those guys. Bryce Bobo, and maybe it's in his replay, it's because he was wearing number 4, but holy crap, did he look like a Darius to me. The one-handed catches and the catching over the other guy. Like, it was, I mean, granted, I know it's college ball in comparison, but still, I mean, lots of likeliness in even the way he ran.
So they're long. I mean, long, 6'2", 6'3" receivers.
Yeah.
So, that's the one thing that really stands out. So the 50-50 balls, you really notice that they're able to bring those down. I have to caution when I post those videos. I always want to write a disclaimer. Just don't have enough characters. I mean, it's kind of a very slanted. I mean, they're not going to show.
Oh, it's the good stuff.
It's the good stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
because I remember.
Don't forget the player edited these.
Yes.
Who the heck was
their
that?
agent?
Or their agent. Yeah.
Think back to 2011. There was a guy, Harry Von Camp or
Harry Von Can, Kahn.
Can't catch.
We soon nicknamed him Harry Von Cant.
Yeah.
And here's this big 6'5" receiver, looked like Andy Fantuz, and playing games out of next to a parking lot. It looked like some
Yeah, he made it about 3 days.
rundown.
nice.
Yeah, the film was funny because all the parking lots and the trees
and the
houses
tree
and
just.
all that.
There was one video where it was a small college somewhere, and there was like a massive tree, probably 5 to 6 yards off the sidelines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a massive tree.
Who the heck would put that
it's
there?
That's a it's a historical tree. We can't take it down. We just built the football field around it. Right?
Nice.
So, I mean, the film slanted towards, look at every wonderful play.
yes,
But, it gives you a little look about,
Here's what they can do,
Yes,
at least.
exactly.
Yeah.
But-
Mahungu was great, too, because he's a big guy, so
Yes.
maybe he could be a replacement.
And both those guys, they got some NFL pedigree too.
Right,
yes.
They got longer looks in the NFL.
Right.
Mahungu was on, what roster was he on? He was on
Philadelphia.
for a whole year. Philadelphia. Yeah, he didn't play, but he was on the roster on the 53 for a whole year. So he's got something for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just interesting to see new guys. Whenever you see new guys coming in, you're thinking, okay, well then they're building up for camp guys, and you never know who is going to be that next Zylstra, who is going to be that.
You didn't know who
You're
Duke
right.
Williams was when
Absolutely.
he got here, right?
Absolutely. So it's very interesting. Now, they did bring back from the draft last year the national defensive lineman Gabriel Bagnell and national wide receiver Harry McMaster.
Sure.
So those are nice to see back in, I guess, after having been part of the draft last year. Now, for all the players that they extended in the last couple of weeks. Starting with the man we are now calling Robin, so that we can call her Commissioner Kayla again. Natea J. Great ad. I know for you guys, I mean, even extra great ad because he's great on the mic.
Yeah, he is. I talked to him last week. We did a Super Bowl preview last week, and he was great. I know he was having a Super Bowl party yesterday. I texted him a little bit today, and I said, I hope the party was better than the game. And
Yeah.
He sent me back a video. I think I saw it posted somewhere of one of his buddies asleep on the couch in the middle of the game. So that tells you what the game was like. Well, we all know what the game was like. But I like his signing along with Corey Jones signing.
Absolutely. That was a huge one.
One more guy. Who else?
Blair Smith.
Blair Smith. Yeah, I
Yes.
forgot Blair Smith. Those three guys, I mean, they're the guys on special teams.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to finish, if they stay healthy, they'll finish 1, 2, 3 in special teams tackles in any pick your order, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have been in that position, and they're also good at. Jones might drop out if he gets a job as a regular on the defense, but I mean, those guys are so very important. Special teams, at least special teams coverage has been pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
For the most part, the last
Coverage,
few
yes.
years, and those guys are the main reason why. So it's good to get them back there. It's kind of an unsung role, right? Nobody knows. It's not sexy, right? Nobody knows about those guys. No one knows their names, but all they know is when they get beat for a touchdown, they're complaining about them, right? So they're important guys to sign.
Well, and Blair Smith actually was taking on part of that role when Konar and Malema Shimanga got hurt last year too. So
Well,
you have some depth there.
I mean, he had 20 special teams tackles his first last year.
It's crazy.
So,
Yeah.
he's good.
He's a good ad. And I think Corey Jones will push for that middle linebacker vacancy that we have.
There's Tank Reed in there.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the defense. Of course, the big extension. That's horrible that I said that way. The big re-signing, let's go with that, was, of course, our good friend of the show, EarthKwaku, back for 2 years as well, which is fantastic. It's nice to see that he wasn't just signing the 1 year deal, that he was actually committing for the 2 years. I think Sunderland actually knocked it out of the park, getting that one done prior to free agency.
Absolutely.
And prior to the CBA, really.
Because that's one that can surprise you. Like that, they offered him how much? You could be surprised somebody might go way more than everyone expects on a guy like that because he can be so important.
Yes, absolutely. And he's got the right passport.
Yeah.
And like you said, on the Periscope, he doesn't want to just be a good Canadian D lineman. He wants to be a great D lineman, period.
Of any birth.
Doesn't matter where you're from. So I think when you see deals like that, I really look and think, I know Brock is kind of getting a bit of he seems to get grouped into a bad rap, and I see these types of deals and I'm like, I don't get it.
Dave, what have I said to you for the last 3 months? What question do I ask you every time I see criticism?
Has he done anything bad? Has he done
what mistake has he made as a general manager?
None.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
None.
No,
really. He got raked over the coals pretty good for Darius Bowman and Odell Willis on 4 days apart.
Right.
But he turned out to be pretty much right on both of them. It's too bad Jake Serezna is not back. Because imagine re-signing him. It's a pretty good deal. And I love Darius and Odell. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But time had come for one or both of them to be moved out and to freshen it up a little bit and get some younger guys in there and some cheaper guys in there, and that's what he did. I mean, that was the toughest that's a tough decision to make, to come in from Ottawa and that was like a year, less than a year before he had since he had the job, and to move out two of the biggest fan favorites this team has had in a long time. To move them out like that was a gutsy call, and I think it worked out.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the numbers. Odell had a decent season last year, but Darius did have a drop off, and part of that is Mike Riley wasn't throwing them the ball. I understand that,
moved from team to team.
But I think the decisions weren't bad decisions, and I think that you start to see stuff like this and you think, hey, Brock knows what he's doing. We got to give him some credit and let him build this team and let him do what he's going to do. Now, before we get too far, then let's go to this really quickly. I was lucky enough to catch up with our bud, and welcome back to the Empire. So let's talk to EarthKwaku. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for doing this right after you signed. This is fantastic. Tell us how everything kind of came together on this deal.
Things just went smoothly. It was almost frictionless, and the biggest thing is, like I've said before on some articles, just me and Fred, my agent, really knew that we want to come back to Edmonton. It just felt right, and the coaching staff embraced me since I got there, and the fans have also done that. So it just felt right to stay in Edmonton. The NFL interest was obviously hard to deny, so I wanted to definitely check it out and feel it out and see how far away I was from the ultimate goal, and also get some quality feedback. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to be back in the CFL, and more importantly, I'm excited to be back with Edmonton.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, how was the NFL tryouts? How did you find that whole process?
The process is, it's like at the end of the day, it's football, right? So it was a great opportunity for me to showcase my skills and in front of scouts and NFL coaches and whatnot, and get to meet and make connections with NFL coaches and scouts. So it was a great experience, and it's something that I'm proud of. And at the end of the day, I hope that another opportunity opens up later on in my career. That's awesome.
Well, although I do want you to have the opportunity to get down there. I'm very happy it's 2 years here. That makes me very happy. But now, you mentioned as well the coaching staff. You already know the coaching staff. Now, a little bit different, I guess. You're coming in now with a new defensive coordinator in Philip Lawley, but you get to keep your defensive line coach with Demetrius Maxey. So tell us a little bit about what you expect coming in with Coach Lawley and what it's like to return with Coach Maxey.
I've only heard great things about Coach Lawley thus far. Got the opportunity to talk to Coach Moss about him, and also Coach Maxey and Armando Sewell, and they said that we're going to be an attacking defense. And obviously, I was someone that likes to get to the quarterback and get to the running back in the backfield. I love hearing that. You know, I mean, it gives us a chance to, we never sitting back on our heels. We're attacking them. We're punching them in the face first. So I like that ideology, and I hope that I fit well in this game. And in terms of Coach Maxey, I'm super excited to work with him again. And I think that's one of the reasons that made the transition so much easier for me when we got to negotiating with Brock and figuring out a great deal. Having Coach Maxey there and having that continuity was a big part of that. And I feel like it'll definitely improve my game. And again, I'm young, so I have a lot of skill sets to still gain. And Coach Maxey gives me that confidence and that belief.
That's awesome. And I know that, we want more attack defense because we want more EarthKwakus. That's what we want. So this is fantastic.
I definitely got to crack double digits this year.
Oh, I like the sound of that. I love it. Now, you mentioned Mondo. You guys now have spent the last couple of years basically beside each other. From what I understand, you guys have a pretty good relationship. So tell us a little bit about that relationship with Mondo, being that he's kind of the veteran and you're still the younger guy coming in and learning from him.
Yeah, Mondo is, he in a weird way, he's like he's a good friend of mine, but at the same time, I have a lot of respect for him, as if he's like my older brother. So obviously there's two different dynamics there where in one case, we're buddy, but at the same time, I have a lot of respect for him. In a way, almost like he's an older brother. So it really just stems from first year where he's just so knowledgeable about the game, and more importantly, he's a CFLPA rep. So if I have any questions about being a pro on and off the field, I go straight to him, and that's how the relationship kind of started. And he's always been a great help for me, and he's always told me to always be confident and work hard in my trade. And he's one of those guys that you wouldn't believe that he's over 30. You would think that he's still like 25, 23. Just the way he works hard and the way he laughs and he enjoys playing football. I look up to him because I hope that when I'm 30 and when I'm that old, I have that much joy and I have that much excitement to play the game. And he takes great care of his body because he knows that's pretty much his asset to play this game. So he's a great mentor, and I'm glad that. And again, that helps. That helps make it easier for me to sign a 2 year instead of 1 year deal because I know that he's also here until 2020.
Oh, that's awesome. Of course, you're bringing a bit of a tear to my eye calling him old at 30, but that's okay. I'll let that go for now.
He's old. He's old for football. Not even for football, for pro sports, I would say. Oh yeah, that's what you're talking about golf.
Good cover, Kwaku. Good cover. Yeah. No,
all relative.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned he's obviously the CFLPA player rep, and the big thing for me was, and actually very exciting, is that you did sign prior to the CBA being done. Now, I assume that's obviously because you got the deal that you wanted, but where do you kind of see things going with the CBA side of things? Because, all of us as fans, we're kind of excited to see that get done.
Yeah, it's tricky. And for someone that lacks experience playing professional football, the CBA was definitely weary for me. But like I said, I have a lot of mentors, and a big part of that is I have a great agent that's been in the league for over 15 years, and he's seen multiple CBAs be signed and whatnot. So he just based off his history and looking at it and said, the CBA is going to make drastic changes. It might help impact the salary cap a bit, but ultimately that's going to go to, obviously the quarterback, because quarterbacks drive this league. And he just felt like, and we both felt like Brock was giving us a fair deal. And at the end of the day, whether we waited until the end of free agency or whenever the CBA was signed, if I wanted to go back to Edmonton, why wait, right? Why stall? And I think that was a good point because at the end of the day, like I didn't want Brock to feel like, or I didn't want Brock to have an option to move elsewhere, and because I already knew that I wanted to be back there, and I didn't want to ruin a good thing. So it really came down to, as long as Brock gave us a good deal, I wouldn't really care about the CBA or free agency. I would just want to stay back.
Awesome. So happy to hear that for our side of things, for sure. Now, tell us a little bit, what have you been doing in all of your off-season time?
During the off-season, I'm someone that doesn't really like to just sit around and just do nothing. So, I graduated my honors BBA with focus accounting. So it just makes sense for me to utilize that degree, use that during the off-season. So whether it's me working as an accountant or me working as a financial advisor, it's something that helps build my trade off the field. And obviously, it's nice to have some income during the off-season. And obviously, training is important. So my off-seasons are sometimes, I would like to say, are actually harder than my in-season, if that even makes sense. Just because I continue my training regime as soon as December, and I'm working hard at that, and then I'm also working obviously flexible hours, but then I really work hard on both those things, so that when I do come back into the CFL, it's just me focusing on just football and being the greatest defensive net that I could be.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Now, you and I chatted a bit yesterday after the signing, and I think we've come up with a new design for a T-shirt. So we're very excited to get those out. I think you like the one with the crack down the middle, right?
Yeah, that one. I think that one was just it was just kind of funny because it's just so outrageous, right? It's just something that it just like literally the crack in the middle. Once you get a chance to look at the design, for people that haven't seen it, it just looks funny, and I think that's the point. You know what I mean? Like having these shirts out or to have fun. You know what I mean? And create this bond amongst myself and the fans, and so I just love the designs, because even if you know how a Richter scale is set up, I think the highest it goes is 9 or 10. So for us to be displaying 93 on the Richter scale it just plays on that little joke that we have. So I love it.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will get those out very soon. And I guess it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I should just ask you: do you have a prediction, and are you going to watch the game?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch the game. I prefer. I like supporting the underdog, because I feel like most of my life I've been the underdog. So I want the LA Rams to win, but it's going to be hard to beat Tom Brady and the seniority that he has with that offense and Bill Belichick. It's hard to beat a team like that. So if I were to put my money on it, I would probably give the Patriots. But if I'm talking about just my personal preference, who would want to win, I would want the LA Rams to win. So obviously I'm playing both sides, but I'm cheering for the LA Rams.
Awesome. All right. Well, Campbell will be upset about your cheering, but probably be happy with your prediction. So that's what he's supposed to do. Okay. When are you back in town, man? When do we get to see you back in Edmonton?
We'll see if there's anything that the media wants me to come up there. I'd be more excited to come up there if the Edmonton organization sets that up. But I think that most likely at training camp, and that's when the grind begins.
All right. Well, we'll be all in the stands waiting to cheer you on, wearing our new shirts, and excited to see you when you get back here, man. So glad you're back with the Empire.
I'm so glad I'm back. Thank you so much.
All right. That was fantastic. I love chatting with Kwaku. He's so much fun to chat with, and I always like making him laugh. So hopefully we can have him back on many times over the next 2 years while he is in Edmonton. This is awesome.
And beyond, hopefully.
And beyond. Oh, that's... to infinity.
That's
and
right.
Beyond, yes.
You know what's scary about Kwaku Boateng? At the end of this current contract, he'll be 25 years old, going on to 26.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
so in the conversation, because you didn't hear, he was talking about how it was so great to be good friends with Mondo and see for how old he is, how well he plays the game. And I said, dude, like, you're calling 30 old? And he's like, oh, you can.
Not only are you calling 30, you're calling Mondo.
No, old. Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, in football terms. I'm like, oh, sure. Okay. But you're right. I mean, like, he's still a young dude.
Yeah.
And smart. That's what I like best about him. And I go back to his first year here, and I remember talking to him a couple of times about it and how much he loved doing it. Like, he had basically a defensive end classroom to sit in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because he was in meetings with Odell Willis, John Chick,
Philip Hunt,
and there was somebody else.
Marcus Howard.
Marcus Howard. And he had Mondo there as well.
And he said, I just soaked it all in. I just learned as much as I could. He's a very smart guy, and he's willing to learn. And I remember even Odell Willis saying, I asked him in an interview, and I said, what do you think of Kwaku Boateng? And he goes, he asked too many questions, because that's just the kind of guy he is. He just wanted to learn as much as he possibly could, and I think that's great. And it obviously worked for him, because he had a terrific year last year, and he even missed 2 games, right?
He
led the team in sacks. He was 6th in the league, and he missed 2 games. So.
Wow, that's just it's awesome to have him back. So let's start with the defense then. Actually, let's talk about the defense. I know we're all going to want to talk about the offense, but we can do that after. Maybe we don't want to talk about the offense, but what do you guys think the change with bringing Philip Lawley in as DC?
I think it's a stylistic change, because I think they want to go from more of a zone kind of let's keep everything in front of us, which
Soft
didn't always
zone.
work with Mike Benavides. And I think I just want to say just quickly, I think a lot of people ragged on Benny.
Sure they did.
And I think it was kind of not warranted. And it's easy to look at the defense and rag on them and all that. And there was their secondary was never very, very healthy under Mike Benavides' time here. So I think that really hurt them. When he had a healthy secondary, then you saw the best out of Mike Benavides.
When was that?
Well, and if he had
hardly ever.
If he had a bit of consistent, like we found over the last 2 years, it always started really slow, and then by the end of the season, it built up and got better and better. And last year was really no exception. It did get better and better, and the offense completely disappeared in the second half of the season last year. So they were
there and they were turning the ball over.
It's just not. It's not all on. I don't think the defense was horrible, but I can see where that soft zone would be.
They need to change it.
I think having a healthy defensive secondary is key for his defense. I mean, you go back to the best years he had in BC. Look at that secondary. Those are those 5 guys who played every game together for like 4 years. They knew each other like the back of their hands. And because they could play so well together and they were so good, that allowed everything else in his system to work to a T. He never had that here. He never had a chance here with the secondary here, because it changed every week. I mean, week to week to week. The closest he got to healthy was the week before last season started. And then the final week of training camp, 4 guys got hurt. And
just crazy.
And it was all out the window at that point. So
but I think
was gone the whole season.
Yeah, exactly. Lawley, if they can get the right mix of players, I think we'll want to play a more aggressive style.
Sure.
A more attack style.
Easier buy-in.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you're a defender, you love to play that attack style. And
players will be excited.
Yeah, and he was popular in Hamilton. The Hamilton Tiger Cat defensive personnel loved playing for Philip Lawley, who kind of got a raw deal at the end of the 2017 season.
No kidding.
Yeah, and the Ticats used a lot of his concepts this past season. So, I think and they got Philip Lawley. I think it's very fortunate, because he's got. You want to say something? Or
no,
what?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Like I'm Don Cherry and you're Ron McLean. Anyway, but they got him maybe a little bit cheaper than it would have been to hire any other defensive coordinator from the outside, because he's got ties to the city. His girlfriend lives in St. Albert. He's got ties to the organization. So I think it's a really heady hire by Jason Moss.
It's good fit, right? From that angle. Think about it. In the last 6-7 years, what's the best defense the Eskimos have had?
Oh, no question.
14 and 15, right?
Yep.
And who was a big part of that was Philip Lawley. I mean,
he wasn't a linebackers coach.
He was a linebackers coach, but he was also kind of pseudo DC. I think he was a guy when Jones was doing other things as head coach. Lawley was in charge of the defense. And I even remember back to when the story first broke out of Auburn, before he was even hired here. The stories out of Auburn said that former Auburn coach Philip Lawley is going to Edmonton to become the defensive coordinator. Right. That was the story that we first heard. And Chris Jones stayed as defensive coordinator, but I mean, who stood right beside him? All game, who was given signals? We don't know whose signals were the right signals, but Lawley was right there the whole game.
But who gave Jones a start, really? I mean, Lawley.
Yes, why he gave him his first coaching job in high school in Jackson, Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
That's why they've stayed so close over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a great hire. Now we've got, obviously the line is more solidified now. We now know that Mondo, Bazzi, and Kwaku are going to be back.
Mike Moore so far.
Mike Moore is still there. Yeah, absolutely. So, but there's kind of a little bit of a spot that little bit up for grabs because with Serezna going.
Right.
But nice to have, and obviously, like we said, in an attack defense, those guys are going to love that. Have more aggressive, all those types of things. Now, here's something I never thought I'd say. We're hoping that Johnny Adams is healthy enough to play corner.
You've come around.
I've completely come around. Dave called me on it, and I ate crow on that. That's fine. But I think he's going to come back. So I think right now the biggest hole that we have, of course, is JC Sherritt. So who do you think are the front runners to fill that? What do you think is going to happen there?
To me, it's Corey Jones and Tank Reed. Those are the guys.
You don't think they bring in someone else?
I don't.
They might. They kind of are bringing in Tank Reed. I mean, he was only here for a cup of coffee last year. Played in the final game, right? Mm-hmm. Mostly on special teams. I think he had one defensive tackle, I think, in the game. So I think he's the guy. And let's go back. This is a guy. He's got a pretty good pedigree.
Yes.
And throw out the penalty, right?
Yes.
In the Grey Cup game. That's stupid. But I mean, he's played in some Grey Cup games, and he's played for some good teams, right? And he played in Calgary after that. Then he got released because of Alex Singleton. No harm there.
No, but a Canadian too.
And then went to Ottawa. And
Canadian.
Didn't he?
Nice air quotes.
Did he get to the Grey Cup game with Ottawa too?
Yeah,
right.
I believe so.
So
yes.
he's played with two with Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
In back-to-back years, and one with Ottawa. Yeah. So he's got a guy, he knows how to win. He knows how to get there. Mm-hmm. And he's still pretty young. He's like only, I think, 26 or 27.
I think it's 27, yeah.
Yeah, so I've always liked him. Mm-hmm. I always liked him watching him play on other teams, and I thought it was pretty cool when the Eskimos signed on. Oh, that's a guy. Maybe someday if JC ever retires, that won't happen.
Surprise!
He'd be a good fit, right? You know, more so I was thinking if JC got hurt, he'd be a good fit. So
that's right.
I'm excited to see him play, and Corey Jones too. Corey Jones is good.
He played very well.
Middle linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when Sherritt was out in 2017. That was Jones' job, and they never lost when he played.
That's right.
I think they lost one game all year when he played. He was so good. So I think I don't know if they need to bring. I don't want to say waste money, but I don't know if they need to spend their money in that category. And here's another thing for you, Krzysztof Malumbichak.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
He was a middle linebacker in college where he was a tackling machine.
Yep.
And I think he might be ready, if not this year, maybe next year, to make the move over and play a little bit there this year and get there. Right now that he knows about the conditioning that it takes to play on the big field and in the Canadian League and to be a pro after 2 years, maybe he's the guy who can eventually be the long-term fill for that spot.
That's I don't mind that.
It's tough for him though, because if you're going to put a Canadian in that spot, you need backups.
Yeah.
Unless you're just going to run with 8 Canadian starters.
Or if you have a back, like they do it it's harder at linebacker, but they do it on the defensive line, right?
Yeah.
You know, you could get a DT Canadian and a DN tackle, and one of them's always in, right?
Yeah.
But so maybe you could do it with another linebacker, you know.
And it depends what Kwaku Boateng's position or designation will be, because if you remember in his rookie year, they didn't have to. Well, even when in the beginning of 2018, they didn't have to designate it as a Canadian spot because an American rotated in there.
Well, yeah, you don't. You just put in. These are my Canadians, right? Those positions are my Canadian positions.
But
those guys, and they never put Boateng in there, right?
They got injury trouble.
But I think actually, don't they just go like we got 4 on offense,
4 DIs,
3 on defense? Or
they don't even need to do that.
So it doesn't matter who's in. So that's why they can rotate, and they just never counted that position.
Yeah. But it would help if they didn't have to count Boateng as a Canadian spot.
Yeah,
they had to because
gives them an extra one,
right? Because of the injuries
and stuff.
So it's like an extra Canadian, then it's fine. Yeah,
because then they had Mackey backing up, and then they had Gascon-Nedon. Backing up, but if they have 2 imports and 1 Canadian, then you don't have to designate that as a Canadian spot.
Yeah, very true, very true. What do you think about the Edwards spot? Because we don't know if Edwards is going to be back. Tough to say. I mean, he hasn't had an NFL deal come yet, but does he come back or not?
Well, when you look in the building right now, and I'm thinking, okay, before free agency, and there's some names I've written down here, but we'll get to that later.
Patriots fans get cheat sheets.
I almost spit that out. That was great timing.
Hate is going to hate. So, Nick Taylor.
Yeah, that's another one.
One name that's under contract. He's played that position a little bit.
Sure.
But, they're probably going to have to look outside the organization to try and fill that spot.
Hey, and again, we go back to the whole thing. We didn't know who Dion Lacey was when he got here. We didn't know who Dexter McCoyle was till he got here. We didn't know who a lot of those guys are, right? Until they get here and go, oh, wow, they're pretty good.
They do all right.
It was tough for Edwards, too, coming in and replacing someone who had done so well in that spot.
Oh, absolutely.
Kenny Ladler?
Who had done so well. And then Hugh, who was replacing someone who had, again, done that well in that spot as well.
That position, they've had some pretty good guys run through there the last 5 years.
Foster was there in 14 and 15, and then Ladler for 16, 17.
Was it? I thought Dion Lacey was in between there.
He was doing more Will at that point.
He was on the other side. Right, that's right. No, I mean, the Eskimos have brought in... How many DBs have they signed that we don't know about?
Tons.
Let's see. Brian Walker, Jalen Spencer, Devin Smith, O'Shane Samuels, Robert Priester? Sure. Taekwon Glass, my fun new name.
Glass could be a wild card, by the way.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I know I'd heard that name before, but I don't know where. But
Hamilton, right?
No, 9 games for the Alouettes.
That's what I said, Montreal, right?
And wasn't too, that's right. Hamilton and Montreal, they go together.
Yeah. Right beside each other. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a few spots where we just don't know what those guys are going to do.
Yeah. It's a roster in flux.
Yep.
And if we go back to Brock Sunderland, this is his biggest test now as a general manager.
It is.
Building a roster, building a new core.
Yes. Building a new core is a big thing.
And finding those cheap guys.
Yeah.
You got to find those guys that can come in that are going to outperform their contract.
Yeah.
Because if you looked at the schedule or the roster last year and it came time for the awards, did you really think we had a chance at all of winning Best Rookie?
Nope.
No.
But the last couple of years we had and won it.
Yeah.
So I just didn't see a whole lot of great rookies that were, again, outperforming their contract.
Yes.
I thought Nick Taylor did well.
Yes.
I thought Money Hunter in spots did
certain
well.
Spots,
but,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got speed. We just need to. Yeah, he just needs to get.
But they got thrown in, right?
And one thing
absolutely.
they're going to have to do too is they can mix and match. Like, don't forget that linebacker spot. That's basically a glorified DB.
It's
right?
a nickelback.
Yeah. So there's guys playing in the defensive backfield now, or who can play that spot. So the challenge is to find the right mix of guys in the right spot. And who knows about Aaron Grimes? There's a lot of question marks still in that defensive backfield, whether it be contract or health, because we haven't seen Johnny Adams in a long time.
No.
And we don't know about Aaron Grimes, and there's some other guys in those categories.
Even Arjun Colquhoun on the other side, right?
Yeah, he would fall into the health part, right?
Yeah.
Arjun Colquhoun, everything I've heard about Arjun Colquhoun is he's a great football player.
I haven't seen him play.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Part of being a good football player, and Jason Moss has stressed this a lot when I talk to him especially in the coach show, part of being a good football player is being available.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to make yourself available to play the games, and that's been tough for Arjun, and that's one thing he's got to work on. I mean, he's a thoroughbred, right? And those little things bug guys, and I think in his first year especially, he came back, and he came back too soon because he was, I want to prove I can play, and he got hurt again, and it was a tough go for him. And then I don't know. You got to be if you're gonna play, you got to be able to play, right?
Yeah,
and that's the problem he's had. And I'm looking forward to the day when we see him for 18 games, because everything I hear about him is he's a wonderful football player.
And the games that he did play and was able to get through it, I mean, the guy has speed and he can hit.
Yeah.
Like I loved watching him play.
You remember the game in Winnipeg, the preseason game, and they hardly brought any starters. But he was one out of 2 starters, regular starters that played. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, that's very true.
And again, we also give credit to Brock because he was getting some NFL looks. He was on some rosters.
Yes.
And Brock did bring him up to, are we going to see some of those guys?
Yeah.
Justin Senior is floating about. He's not signed to any particular team right now.
Well, I'd be all right.
I kind of ask why in some way.
Well, he'd had some injured. He was on the pup list for a while.
True. Yeah.
So we shall see. Any defensive side free agents you had a list, you said, Dave.
Yeah.
So is there a defensive free agent that you would go, I think we need to look there?
Are we talking the Sam or anybody?
We're talking any spot.
Okay.
Any spot. I already heard what you said earlier, but I know it's probably not likely. But yeah.
Well, you got to, Morley knows this too. I mean, defensive coordinator can attract free agents.
It's true. Absolutely.
And Hamilton players really love Philip Lolley.
That you're going right where I had them.
That might be a middle linebacker. Maybe they could bring in.
Larry Dean.
Yeah. Oh yes, I did
Simone
think
Lawrence.
Of that. Yeah. Either now, I don't know about Simone. I don't know if Simone is going to leave Hamilton.
Yeah, I agree.
He's pretty entrenched.
He's got a good thing going there.
I mean, Larry Dean maybe, but I actually went farther out. I went to Richard Leonard and Don Anamba, who are in spots that we actually might need those guys in that secondary, right? Like those are the ones that I was going with.
Here's another name in the DB side, Corey Tyndall.
Oh, that could be good.
Oh, interesting.
See, when people look at Ottawa's defense, I don't know if enough people realize what a difference maker Corey Tyndall is. He's a good cover linebacker, but he was brought in a lot of scheme or a lot of packages from Noel Thorpe to pressure the quarterback.
Right.
He pressured the quarterback really, really well. I think Corey Tyndall could be a difference maker.
Interesting. All right. You got anybody else to add there, Super?
We had talked about that there is a safety spot now with Neil King no longer there. Is that going to be something that Woodman takes over, or are they going to bring someone else in?
Or, because they have so many starting Canadians on defense, maybe swing an American in there. In Ottawa, I believe Forrest Hightower played that spot for a while too. So if they re-sign him, you never know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's because they have all those Canadians on defense. That at least opens the door for a discussion on that.
Yeah, I think that the safety needs to be somebody that is smart, but also can really just bring the wood. We haven't had someone like that since Trent Brown in the late '90s and early bit. This is pre-Chris Hardy, who definitely did not do that. But I don't. I think
shot at getting him on the show.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mike.
But I think Jordan Beaulieu could be a sleeper for that spot because he is a big hitter. Onyeka, is he going to stay on the corner backing up, or is he going to maybe go for that safety spot?
I was actually going to ask about that if we're going to see more Onyeka this year.
Right. So I'd like to see some of that. But I mean, do you take a shot at someone like a Taylor Loeffler? They're not going to be able to afford him now.
Red flag. If he wants $200K, forget it.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing.
But he can want whatever he wants. But
I want $200K too, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he could be one of those free agents that he's just going to have to wait.
Yeah.
And players,
the longer he waits, the less money's floating around there.
That's the thing. Is teams spend their cash on day one, and then they're out of it.
Yeah.
And then that's where teams got to budget better.
Yeah.
And when you're the Eskimo situation, you got to budget your money, and it's tough. And we'll talk about it soon. Brock Sunderland's in a tough spot because he's got money aside. He's got money set aside for a certain player.
He's got two budgets, right?
And, do I spend it? Do I not? Anyway, but when you talk about the safety position, Morley's right. What does Philip Lolley, what does Jason Moss want for that safety spot? If it's a Canadian spot, I think Loeffler and Aki, Chris Aki is the name I wrote down.
Even Tunde Adeleke.
Yeah.
Another name that's out there. Like
Adeleke could be an under radar kind of guy.
Yep.
I wrote down Courtney Stephen and Jermaine Gabriel as well. Those, kind of buy low kind of gets, because as we transition, I'm sure, to talk about the offense, that is where the money will be spent for the most part by Brock Sunderland.
I tend to agree. Absolutely. All right, well, let's take a really quick break, and then we will come back to talk to the offensive side of the ball and, of course, the history moment.
This is two-time Grey Cup champ Randy Spencer, and you're listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast is brought to you by United Construction Company. As a full-service commercial general contractor, United Construction Company serves large and small-scale commercial, light industrial, and multifamily residential construction projects across Western Canada. UCC is a relationship-focused builder, forming a trust and respect that is at the forefront of their commitment to quality, value, and integrity. Visit their website at unitedconstruction.ca to find out more and support them as they support the Empire.
Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Hands in the crowd, we tearing it down.
You can join the Empire online.
Find us at eskempire.ca.
Check out all the new blogs and then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
For more history, follow at Esks History on Twitter.
And even more of my pics on Esk Empire Photo.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the pod grow. Thanks again for listening. Let's get back to the show. Welcome back from not going anywhere. We are back once again, and it is time for our favorite part of the show, the Esks History Moment.
Play the music!
Let's hear you cheer and holler for a mighty famous team. Let's hear you roar, you know what, for a team that's on the beat. Our voices rise up to the skies, the fans are glad to scream. We love those Eskimos.
Welcome back to the Esks History Moment. One thing about playing professional Canadian football is that the salaries for players didn't skyrocket the way they did for the National Football League, National Hockey League, pro basketball, or baseball. Because the league is based solely in Canada, especially now, the market can't afford to support teams with $100 million payrolls.
What?
So this means a lot of the players have second jobs to make things work. They truly play for the love of the game and their fans. So, if you're a football player up in Canada, what options are there? Many chose to be teachers. Johnny Bright and Rolly Miles, among many others, chose the educator path, which may have had a bit of flexibility for time off for games, practices, and the like. Dave Fennell, Trent Brown, Oscar Kruger, and Ed Molstad are among the many players that passed the bar and practiced law in between games, training camp, and two-a-days. But there was another career option that fit in perfectly with a football schedule, one that took advantage of a player's fitness levels and endurance, along with allowing them to enjoy the roar of the crowd.
Bouncer.
This path was followed only by a handful of men that suited up for the green and gold, but they etched their names in tales told far and wide. They were, as Dave could tell you, professional wrestlers.
Yes! Yes! Let me tell you something, Meaty.
Nice.
The first and possibly most famous of the former Eskimos started with amateur wrestling and captured the city and provincial championship for middleweights at the age of 15. 7 years later, he became the country's welterweight champion, and the next year he joined the reformed Eskimos in as a center, playing for the 2 years that version of the club existed before the outbreak of World War II. More famous for his time in the ring, and especially for training and fathering legends, as well as the formation of what would become Stampede Wrestling, Stuart Edward Hart.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
The dungeon.
Stu Hart was introduced to professional wrestling during the war while serving with the Royal Canadian Navy, and founded his own wrestling promotion just as the green and gold version of the Eskimos were about to be founded. His connection with the club allowed him to recruit other players to join him in Klondike Wrestling, which would eventually morph into the more famous Stampede Wrestling after he moved to Calgary.
Nice.
One of the toughest two-way linemen the Esks ever had in their early days was the son of a future city alderman, Gene Kiniski. Kiniski joined the club for their first season in 1949, earning him a scholarship at the University of Arizona. After his time there where he learned wrestling, he returned to terrorize opposing teams in 1952, but a knee injury ended his career on the gridiron, and he went into the second phase of his career as a wrestler. 3 players who suited up for the 1953 edition of the club with Kiniski moved on to grappling after that season.
Grappling?
What?
Famed 50s and 60s wrestlers Joe Blanchard, Wilbur Snyder, and a walk-on guard who attended camp but was cut from the team before the season started, Jack Adkinson, who trained with Stu Hart, and who then created Atkinson's gimmick as an evil German and gave him the nom de ring Fritz von Erich.
Oh.
Going back.
Oh, the Von Erichs.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Joe Blanchard was with the Eskimos beginning in 1951, while Bill Snyder joined a year later, and they gave the reformed Esks their first appearance in the Grey Cup under headman Frank Filchok, but excelled in new head coach Darryl Royal's split T formation, brand new to Canadian football in 1953. The 53 Eskimos went 12-4, tying the Canadian record for most wins in a season in the club's 5th year. Kiniski, Blanchard, Snyder, and Atkinson were all gone from football after that 1953 season, and it was nearly 2 decades before another wrestler joined the football pads for Edmonton. Gotta call it wrestler.
Wrestler.
1970 saw wrestling still scattered across North America with many rival promotions, but Hart's Stampede Wrestling was still a top draw. That year, a rangy halfback named Jeff Atchison, who had joined the team after several years playing about 3 hours south, made the team out of camp and was projected to do great things when, once again, an injury forced a player out of football and over to the Stampede Wrestling circuit, where he became a tag team champion during the golden age of the 1970s wrestling scene. 1971 saw another bruising lineman try out for the squad. While he made it through camp and a couple of preseason games, he ultimately got cut from the Eskimos, who were swimming in talent at the tackle position with Keith Christensen, Ross Gwynn, and a new recruit, Charlie Turner, who spent 8 years with the Esks locking down that spot. Frank Goodish was ultimately cut, but after being reinvented as Bruiser Brody, training none other than the Eskimo tryout hopeful Fritz von Erich.
Seriously?
Yes, sir.
Holy smokes.
Look at all these scenes. As the years wound on, Stampede Wrestling got swallowed up by Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation in the 1980s.
Sad.
But Eskimos still found their way around the circuit, with Edmonton Eskimo defensive lineman Brett the Toaster Williams moonlighting as Humongous. Known as Humongous, mullet and all.
Humongous.
Stampede Wrestling did fade out entirely as the 80s drew to a close, but reformed, much like the Eskimos did 50 years earlier, in 1999, and another former Eskimo, this time 1993 Eskimo lineman Jeff Thomas, climbed into the ring. Talking about Eskimos and wrestlers, however, could not be complete without talking about three-time WWE champion and former defensive tackle Joe Anoa'i, known better to millions of wrestling fans as...
Roman Reigns.
That's him.
Yeah.
He was only with the Eskimos for a single year in 2008, after trying out for a few NFL teams the year before. Anoa'i only played in 5 games before retiring from football, and with forays into professional wrestling, reached successes and fame unseen by most wrestlers or Canadian football players. While he recently had to step back due to health reasons, we can be sure that he will not be the last Eskimo to moonlight in the squared circle.
Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. We love those Eskimos.
Oh, damn. That was awesome. That was so... It's like you tailored it for
It's
our
almost
guest.
like...
It's like
I've been sitting on that one for a while.
Who was going to be here?
I remember Joe back in 2008 and very quiet. Of course, a lot of the rookies are quiet, other than Simone Lawrence, who broke the mold of rookies.
Yes.
And how quiet rookies should really be.
That's it, yeah. He's good at that.
Joe forced a fumble
Yep.
that sealed a win against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
He did.
Yeah. So
5 tackles and a forced fumble. That's his stats line.
he's done very well for himself.
He did all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that the treatments,
Yeah.
the leukemia, are going very
Yeah.
well, and hopefully he'll be back in the ring soon.
He had a pretty good bloodline, though, with the Wild Samoans being his dad and uncle,
Yeah,
and
Dwayne Johnson.
Rosie, his brother.
The
and-
Rock, and
cousin.
So many, it's such a rich bloodline
Yeah.
for wrestling, and it just makes me tinkle because
Yep.
I'm a big wrestling fan.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You don't say.
Yes. Oh, and I want to talk about Stu Hart just quickly.
Sure.
I remember it was Bret the Hitman Hart's documentary back 20 years ago.
God, it's got to be.
And they had a audio recording of someone being trained in Stu Hart's dungeon.
I heard that. Yeah.
The screams.
Sure,
The
really?
blood-curdling screams, because Stu Hart would torture you.
But Stu was a wrestler, right? It wasn't
right.
all about the show. You had to know how to wrestle.
And so many famous people down there, and and one woman survived it, and that's Natalia Neidhart.
Wow.
Yeah. So the daughter of Jim Neidhart,
Yes.
who
Yeah.
unfortunately passed away
Right.
not too long ago. So. Yeah.
Wow, that's I couldn't imagine. It's exciting to watch. I would never want to be part of it.
No,
Yeah.
it's not fake.
No.
It's a performance, but
They're
those
hitting that
wrestlers go
canvas.
through hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, well, thanks, Mike. That was
Yeah.
fantastic. I do appreciate you tuning it in.
Excellent concentration, too.
Thank you.
You were
Yes.
getting catcalls all around
Oh,
you.
yeah.
You kept your head down, and
Oh,
you
I
kept
don't
your
know.
mouth moving.
You know what?
That was
he's,
perfect.
He's learned. I can't
Yeah.
shut up anymore when he does it. I need to talk as it's going on. Like, this is awesome. Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the thing that I'm not really sure we want to talk about, but let's talk about the offensive side of the ball with the Eskimos. First thing, of course, they're getting, quote unquote, quote, I guess I should put air quotes around here, Maximic is the new OC. Now, he'll be calling the plays, but I think Moss is still going to be pretty involved in the offensive side of the ball.
He'll be hands-on, but he'll be more involved in the defense now and special teams as well. But yeah, for sure, it's Jason Moss's offense that he put together over many years, and Jordan McSimic has been with him for a lot of those years.
Even in Ottawa.
Edmonton, in Ottawa as well. So the things I've never had a real. It's one of the things I want to do either before camp or once camp starts is have a good conversation with Jordan McSimic, because I haven't really talked to him that much more than just a hi and a nod. But I just hear so many great things about him, and just how focused he is and how detail orientated he is, and just how smart he is when it comes to all things football. So I'm not, especially with Jason Moss standing behind him, I think I'm not worried about that move one little bit, really.
Yeah, no. Oh, and you had called that even last year.
It seemed like every time you saw Moss in the offseason, Maximic was right beside him, and they were always talking. He was a smart guy. My aunt actually taught him and his brother in school in St. Albert. Cool. He was a quarterback in high school. So, I mean, it is high school football, but still you have to know something about the position and going into that. And while he didn't play professionally, a lot of guys didn't. Chris Jones didn't play professionally. He's done all right for himself.
Yeah, he did okay.
And I also, just going back to the last couple of years and the conversations that I have with Mike Riley in interviews and that, and he brings up Jordan a lot. He talked about Jordan a lot in his interviews. So there's obviously a mutual respect there between Mike Riley and Jordan McSimic. Yep. And so that's another kind of star on his helmet, because, he's got the support of Mike Riley.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about him.
Here we go. Buckle up.
That's right. Mike Riley.
If I can go back to what Dave said before the history moment. He talked about the money's going to be spent in the offensive side of the ball. I kind of agree with that, except to say that if Mike Riley is the quarterback of this team, they're going to spend their money on the offensive side of the ball. If he's not, I think they'll spend more of it on the defensive side of the ball to make sure that the quarterback they have doesn't have to throw for 5,500 yards and 35 touchdowns, right?
That's a good point.
I think that's going to happen. I really, I not feel bad. That's not the wrong phrase, but
budgets.
I mean, you can't be. No one can be envious of what Brock Sunderland has to figure out in the next few months, because you got a budget with Mike, and you know how you want to spend it, and you got one without, but at some point, you're going to learn which way you're going to go. Yeah. So let's say you're going with, all systems go. You're going to go without, then you got to go this way. But when are you going to find that out? Yeah. If you don't find it out in time, all the guys you want to spend your money on in the other budget without Mike Riley are going to be signed.
Right. That's right.
And that's the issue. And I hope, and I know Riley wants to wait and his agent wants to wait. And I was just reading some comments today from Trevor Harris, who said that basically in an interview, said almost the exact same things that Mike Riley has been saying. Like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to see how it works out. I like Ottawa. I got no problems here, blah, 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 blah. Right? All the same things Mike Riley said. So he's getting that from somebody, right? And they're both got the same agent or the same agency. So it's obviously that's the game plan. So I wonder how it's going to play out. And I hope that not just the Eskimos, but the Red Blacks have got the same plan too, right?
Yes.
And whoever else is in the mix here.
Well, even when you look at the BC Lions, they have to have one with Mike, without Mike. Well, and Saskatchewan's got to be like, Calgary. Who the hell is going to play quarterback?
Saskatchewan's got to be the same way.
Calgary.
Toronto's the same way too, I think, because no one talks much about them, but they don't know about Ricky Ray yet,
right?
And they certainly don't know about James Franklin yet, because he didn't exactly light it up when he got his chance last year. So they're I wonder if they're thinking, well, maybe we got to make a play for Riley or for Jennings or for Caleros or for Harris or whatever. So they're probably going to be in the mix too. I think every team is in that position. And if the quarterbacks don't tell the teams who they're going to be playing for, they're kind of hung out to dry a little bit.
Yeah, eventually someone's going to have to blink and say, okay, we're not going to go for it. And
I can see the first domino falling, and then boom, everything just goes lightning fast after that, right?
Yeah, there's going to be once that first domino falls, the next few days are going to be just nuts for news.
And then Bo Levi comes into it. What's he doing? Is he going to the NFL or not? The window's starting to close, is it not?
For probably him know before the CBA signed, right?
Yeah, I would think, you got to let them know, right, at some point, because Calgary's doing the same thing, right? I bet you they got plans to spend more money on defense if they're going to go with somebody else, a quarterback besides Bo Levi Mitchell. So,
well, and also because they would be looking at what effect is their defense going to have with Devon Claybrooks going to BC? How many are going to want to go to play for him, right? So there's going to be a lot of movement all over the place. But I agree. Okay, just gut feeling. Riley here or Riley not here?
Don't ask me that.
Come on.
I don't know.
I've tossed this around so much.
Yeah.
I think every fan has.
And I can't find a reason in my head why he wouldn't come back here.
Yeah.
But then I think about, and to me it's Edmonton or BC.
Yes.
And the fact that he's got 2 young children, he's got a wife who's going back to work now, and that's in Seattle. Like that's an hour and a half away.
Well, you got to have the border crossing. Even with the Nexus card, it'll take a while.
Yeah,
so.
But it's still closer, right? Yeah. So there is that, and I don't know. I honestly don't know. I keep telling myself that I cannot think of a reason why he would leave.
Right.
But that doesn't mean there isn't one. Yep. And maybe, we don't know what Mike Riley's thinking either. Maybe he wants a change. Maybe he wants to do something different. Maybe he wants to play closer to home. Maybe he wants someplace where at least, he doesn't go there all the time, but at least the family can come and see him play every weekend, right?
Right.
They can't do that now. So,
Right. If he's not back, who do you say is plan B?
I think the one quarterback that makes a lot of sense is Jonathan Jennings.
Sure.
I think James Franklin makes a lot of sense too, just because of his relationship with Jordan Maksimic.
Yes.
But
I like the way you're thinking, Dave. I like the way you're thinking.
Yes, I know.
Mine? Anyway, yeah, okay.
It's just complicated because is Jim Pop just going to offload his...
He's not a free agent. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jennings makes a lot of sense because he can come into that quarterback room and Jason Moss and Jordan Maksimic can do wonders with him. I really believe they can get his confidence back and be that kind of dual threat that Mike is. And, I think Jennings maybe has I think he does have a lot more athleticism.
A lot more to prove.
Younger.
Too. Yeah.
And beyond that, if Trevor Harris becomes available, I think that's a good fit.
Oh, yes.
Brandon Bridge might be kind of an underrated kind of thing or, an unsung kind of signing as well. I don't think Travis Lulay is realistic because I'm not even sure he'll play. I think he might retire.
I don't think he'd leave. He's got too many business interests outside of football there.
Yeah, I think, and getting off topic, I think Travis Lulay would be the perfect fit for Calgary if Bo Levi goes to the NFL.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
It's like as a Band-Aid, right?
Yeah, okay. That's a good point.
Because you got to think he's probably coming back. Right?
I'll say this about Brock Sunderland's situation here again, and my Twitter feed can be a hostile place.
Yes, no kidding.
With my mentions, and sometimes I wish I could just not look at them, but I can't help myself. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure on Brock to sign Mike Riley.
Of course,
and it may not happen, right? And
Brock, it may not be his. But it may not be. It
won't be his fault.
I can tell you, Brock Sunderland has done everything in his power to this point,
and then some,
to get Mike Riley to sign. He has thrown him rich offers, well over $600,000 for Mike Riley to sign. There's, I think, some frustration within that organization that they haven't got him signed. And in some ways, I get why, but Mike told everyone he's going to free agency.
Yep.
But I can understand why there's frustration. And it's a different frustration compared to Marcel Desjardins in Ottawa, who I think believes Trevor Harris will come back, but he can't convince him to sign before free agency to lock him up to an extension.
Right.
And if Mike Riley doesn't come back, that's going to look badly on the organization, and it's unfortunate because I tell you, Brock Sunderland has done all he can to bring Mike Riley to Edmonton before free agency. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. I think Mike's heading to free agency. We all know that. Is it going to take till May for Mike to sign and the other quarterbacks? Possibly, but I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, could you think any GM in this league could have had Riley signed if he was an Eskimo GM? I don't think so.
No, he's going to free agency. That's what I mean.
It's not
before.
Brock at all.
Throw the CBA into it.
Exactly.
It shakes everything up. And that's why Ottawa hasn't signed Harris, and that's why Hamilton hasn't signed Collaros, and that's why BC hasn't. BC doesn't seem to want their guys anyway, but it's why it's the whole thing. It's the CBA is kind of the swizzle stick for this massive quarterback drink here. Nobody. It's the reason why guys aren't signing right now. Mike Riley is going to get a lot of money, and it's not going to be money that's the common denominator. Because whoever he plays for, he's going to get the biggest contract in CFL history, I believe, over the probably 3 years.
Outside of Florida,
Probably.
Well, but they were all short-term deals. I think as far as a 3-year contract goes, I think he'll get the most that anybody's ever gotten. And that's whether he plays in Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Hamilton, Saskatchewan, Calgary, Edmonton, BC.
Yes.
Wherever he signs, he's going to get that lucrative contract.
I like that you left Winnipeg out. I appreciate that.
Oh, well,
that's good.
I got Matt Nichols, right? So,
they're good.
Sorry, Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I don't think money's an issue. I don't think anything's an issue except for what Mike Riley wants.
Yeah.
Whether Mike Riley signs in Edmonton or not will have nothing to do. Well, maybe so. If he leaves Edmonton, it'll have nothing to do with the Eskimos. It'll have to do with where he's going and why he's going. It won't be because he's unhappy here, or because he doesn't like a situation here, or because he doesn't like rap concerts at halftime. It will be because the situation somewhere else, i.e. Vancouver, is better for him and his family. That's what it'll have to do with. Nothing else. It's not because Ed Hervey's in Vancouver. It's not because Travis Lulay's in Vancouver and that's his best buddy.
Right.
It's the fact that if he goes to Vancouver, that would be where he wants to be. If he stays in Edmonton, that'll be where he wants to be. If he goes to Winnipeg, that'll be where he wants to be.
Nice cover.
And that's all there is to it. It's Mike Riley has played a lot of years and taken a lot of hits and thrown a lot of touchdown passes and thrown a lot of yards to get to the position he's in now. He has earned it, and he's going to take advantage of it. Because it's only how often in the CFL does the best player in the league become a free agent at the peak of his career?
Right.
With the CBA expiring.
That's
never.
right?
Yeah. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he's going to take advantage of it and do what's best for him and his family.
I can't
argue it.
I read somewhere online and on Esks fans, I think, and they were talking about Mike Riley. If one of the quarterbacks were to sign, is that letting his other teammates down? Because that's what gives them the leverage in the CBA negotiation, is having all of those quarterbacks.
No.
Yeah, but if none of them sign till May, it's letting down whatever team they're signing with. Because they can't do anything.
Entire league.
Here's another thing, too.
Especially if you don't know what your system is.
Exactly. Bingo. Right there.
May, you want to come back into a system you know.
They're not stupid.
Yeah.
Mike Riley isn't stupid enough to go all the way till May.
No.
Neither is Trevor Harris, Bo Levi Mitchell if he comes available. No quarterback's going to wait till May.
A quarterback under contract is looking at a playbook in January and February.
Absolutely.
None of those quarterbacks are doing that right now, except for Matt Nichols,
Jeremiah Masoli,
and Johnny.
No, he's not.
Johnny.
No, he's not.
He should be, but he's not.
Pipkin might be here.
Yeah, Pipkin might be.
Yes.
Oh, Pipkin.
So every team's offense, every team in the league, their offense is behind where they should be because the quarterbacks aren't signing contracts.
Right.
So you think
I know there's a group of receivers with the Eskimos who want to have a throwing session at some point in this offseason. But with who?
Danny O'Brien.
Right? So
Dobby the Elf.
Yeah.
So get the guys from the Huskies and the Wildcats throw some balls. No. So even that's putting everything behind, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to let everyone know Riley's available to throw the ball if anybody needs it.
Okay.
He's happy.
Your son,
they don't.
My son Riley. Yeah, that's right. He's happy to help.
So I think it's a big issue, and it's the focal point of this off season, and it's and again I don't blame the quarterbacks or their agents because they're doing what's best for them, which is what you have to do, because if you lose 18 games in a row, the team's not going to do what's best for us. They're going to do what's best for them and cut you, right?
That's right.
So they're doing what's best for them, which is absolutely their right to do, but this whole thing is putting every team in the league behind the 8 ball.
Do you think that sort of the longer this goes, the more likely people will sign with their incumbent teams?
No, I don't.
Because
think so.
At least they know the system at that point,
I don't
right?
think so. And right now it's like a big game of musical chairs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sooner or later, Bo Levi Mitchell's going to decide he's a chair or he's not a chair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's going to change the whole the whole thing. Like if you take
he's a chair, all right.
If you take Bo Levi.
Somebody sit on him.
If you take Bo Levi Mitchell out of the picture, then all of a sudden Calgary's more worried than anybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? And so then maybe their offers for Riley, for Jennings, for Lule go up a bit because now they got nothing.
Yeah, right.
Right?
think
So it's going to change.
Arbuckle, come on. Could be the year of Arbuckle.
Arbuckle.
Come on. You know you want to call that.
You don't think Buckles is the answer?
What? No.
If it is, what's the
I guess the
question?
other spot, we obviously talked a lot about the quarterback spot. It's all fine and good to have, if we even get Mike Riley back, who's going to keep him standing?
And who's catching the ball?
Right, yeah. Because right now we've got Beard, O'Donnell, and Draheim still under contract. But that's it. Ruby, I mean, the others are backups, right? We've got Ruby and John.
Might not be anymore.
Wah, right? John
JS. Yeah.
Peterson, is he under contract?
He might
Andrew
be.
Peterson?
Actually, I don't know off the top of my head.
I think so.
But for starters, yeah.
Who's gonna protect whichever quarterback we have? I guess that's one thing to think about. If we end up having to go away from Riley, do we pour some money into that offensive line?
Well, and this is where I half agree with Morley and half rebut Morley here. And I do think it's a good point is, okay, so, how much money can Brock Sunderland spend on the offense if you don't have your centerpiece, which is Mike Riley? But I think this is partly a showcase for Mike Riley, too.
Right.
So when you talk about the O-line, Sir Vincent Rogers jumps off the page. Soup Chung jumps off the page.
And he may go
to
west.
BC, yeah.
Winnipeg might be out of money.
I think.
They've signed so many guys.
And Big Hill's huge, and they needed to get that signature. Don't get me wrong.
Now, what'll help them is Golson retired, Matthias Golson.
Yeah,
so
they'll have some space. But
that's if you can get a premier left tackle and a premier guard, and maybe they can't get Suk Chung, maybe they can get a Tyler Holmes out of Toronto, for example,
or maybe a Landon Rice out of
Or maybe they got some guy we never heard of.
Yeah,
exactly.
What about a Cody Husband out of BC? On the right line with the right guys. BC's always trying to change that offensive line. So is that a possibility too?
Yeah,
there are some ones that you might want to grab.
It's dangerous just because.
Again,
does Brock spend the money?
That's right. Yeah,
but I'm sure he's got enough money in the kitty to spend around that allotment for Riley.
I'm sure no matter who the quarterback is, they have a good chunk of change set aside for a left tackle, right?
They have to.
Yeah,
they have to. Yeah, they have to have something in there. All right, we could talk about the offense forever, but let's quickly go to our last spot, which I'm hoping is a brighter point this year. The special teams, being led by the one and only AJ Gass. I'm very excited about his return. What do you guys think about him taking over that role as the coordinator there?
I love it. And
the intensity,
and that's the thing about special teams. You need someone that will bring energy, that will bring fun, that will inspire that group to go down like a bat out of hell and hit someone.
It takes a certain kind of personality, right?
Yes.
It can't be
kind of personality.
All right, just go down there and tackle the guy. Like AJ Gass played special teams,
sure did,
and
92 tackles
exactly. And it's different than like a Craig Dickinson. And who I'm thrilled that he has the head coaching job with Saskatchewan. He's the right guy for that spot. But, Craig built fun into special teams. That's his MO. He's fun. Yeah. But AJ Gass will bring the emotion. And that is the one position where I think it's different in the offense and defense where you got to kind of have a little bit of calm.
Especially the offensive line.
Exactly. Yeah. But special teams... You can be an absolute crazy man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff Reinbold. You can be absolutely crazy, and energetic and excitable, right? So I think AJ Gass fits the bill to a T. Hasn't coached at this level before in that position, but
he has coached.
He has coached.
At least it's not like he's coming in without any coaching experience.
He knows how football works.
Yeah, exactly.
He's seen coaches and he's been a coach. Not at this level, but...
I like Mike's line the best. It's not like Moss can yell at him at the sidelines because AJ would beat him up.
But at the end of that, that's another thing.
Nose to nose.
I know they could. Yeah.
I think I don't know AJ. I've never met him. I remember him as a player a little bit. I remember he was a really good special teams player, and I I know his wife. I worked with his wife at the Oilers office,
Nice.
and I remember Stacy, and I liked her, so that's I'll be happy to see Stacy.
That's all that we need. Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be. I just think having fresh eyes on it, just having a guy who's been there, done that. And but we talk about guys running downfield making a tackle. That's not really been the problem.
No,
It's the guy running with the ball has been the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And the guys,
and I don't mean the guy. I just mean
the people blocking
the process.
everything.
The
Yes.
process of
Yeah.
running with the football after the kick. That's been the problem. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and they had a hiccup with Kendall Lawrence, who was slightly above average, I think.
Yep.
But they've never had a guy in my time who, when he was settling under the ball and looking up in the air, you scooched forward to the edge of your seat because you didn't know what was going to happen. They've never had that guy.
It was close a couple of times, but nothing consistent.
And I mean, think
and
about
we
it.
thought we had that with Jackson coming in last year, and then
go
no
back,
blocking.
from
Horses aren't in front of him.
Ray Fisher to all those. Think about all the guys they've ran through at that position.
Tristan Jackson.
Yeah, and they just, for whatever it is, the general manager of the Eskimos, be it Danny Machocha, be it Ed Hervey, be it Eric Tillman, be it Brock Sunderland. Well, Sunderland's maybe solved it last year to a certain extent.
Yeah,
but they haven't been able to find that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Every
another
other
thing
team
about
seems
Brock.
to.
He went out and got a returner, something host of Giants before him couldn't do.
Right.
Yeah. So, got to give him credit for that, too. But, yeah, they just haven't had that guy for a long time. So,
do you think Jackson's back? Because he's a free agent as well.
Who knows?
He's back. Jamil Smith is a free agent. There's a lot of guys there.
Clear as mud right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had Kevin Fogg written down
I
on
had
my
him as
DB
well.
list too, and he can be a returner. And just quickly to finish this up, which coach usually stands by the head coach a lot? It's your special teams coordinator,
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're talking about wind, and you're talking about what's Whitey's range. Right. And he's the get back coach as well. Okay, you're on the sidelines, get back coach. But AJ Gass knows Jason Moss so well.
Sure.
Yes.
So he gets him.
Yeah.
Right. And I
They
think
get each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's someone that
they'll be a good match together.
Yeah, Jason trusts AJ a lot.
Yeah.
And AJ knows how Jason ticks. So, I think that's maybe a dynamic we don't think about a lot, but I think that's something that be excited about.
I don't think we'll see Jason Moss, AJ Gass exchanges like we saw Jason Moss, Corey McDermott.
No.
That won't happen.
I think what more likely has happened is when Jason's getting riled up, that AJ could actually say, "Okay, he can remove
he might
him
be
from
the
that."
for the common phrase we've seen in the Super Bowl. He might be the get back coach.
That's right. Yeah. He's like, "Okay, let me help you." Like that. I think there is definitely a possibility for that. So I'm excited about what can happen there. All right, Kayla asked me to ask you guys: is there one guy so far? I know it's very, very early, but is there one guy that you look to just outperform or really have a big year for the Eskimos at this point?
With the proviso of staying healthy,
yes,
I think Adam Konar could be a huge star in this league.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's a good pick.
That's a good one. I can't pick him anymore.
Well, you could say I agree, but that would be
I agree more.
You just did.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Say that's right, Morley.
That's my line.
That's right.
Oh boy, I think Corey Jones might have an inside track of that middle linebacker spot because he knows Philip Lawley and he understands his scheme.
That's a great pick. Super fan?
I think we got to get, I've said it before, guys that outperform that contract. And I think someone like a Jordan Beaulieu, this could be an interesting year.
Yeah, that was actually my pick, was to see Bully back there starting as the safety. I think that he has a big opportunity. I'm going to try flipping it around to the... No, I was actually going to try and go on the offensive side. Yeah. I'm not sure if Bahar is back. We don't know.
You want my opinion?
Yes.
No, he won't be back.
I don't think so either. So
don't pick him.
No, I'm not going to. But what I think that actually opens up, and what we started to see, and they just didn't use him enough, I think, is Natea J.
Sure.
I think that's a great extension where he could actually take that
Corey Watson spot.
And he could have a very productive, more than we expect year, I think, out of Natea.
You want to name drop someone?
Robin.
You want to name drop someone? Or should we do that?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Devon Smith could very well be an Edmonton
Drafted
that would
3-4 years ago.
That'd
Spent
huge.
time in the hasn't played a game since 2016.
Dallas? No, where was
Indianapolis?
Indianapolis.
That's what it was. Yeah, right.
And it's time for him to get some tape. It's time for him to catch a football in a game and show everybody who he is.
That's a good one.
So to do that, he's got to sign a contract. So
yeah. Another one just that I'm throwing out just because we were talking free agents earlier, Shaq Johnson. Would that even be a
we need
possibility?
more Shaquille's on this team.
Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, we went from a Adairi to Shaquille's.
And to Keels. And
that's what we need, yeah. Lots of keels. Wait a minute.
There are some good Canadian receivers available.
Yes.
Oh, we never even talk about import receivers.
We didn't, but you know what? I'm going to leave that because
they're all waiting for Mike Riley to sign. They're all waiting for the quarterbacks.
They're all waiting.
You know, Vidal Hazelton, Darrell Walker, Kenny Stafford.
We got Kenny
they're all
Shaw
waiting.
Elliott. We did get Elliott. We did get Shaw. We've obviously signed some of these other guys we talked off the top of the show. So
never mind then.
I think everyone wants D-Walk back. I get it.
Well, he will go where Riley goes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just drop one name. Greg Ellingson.
You think?
He knows Jason Moss.
Oh,
he knows Brock.
And
possible.
Yeah.
And if things do go south with 13, Trevor Harris.
Yeah, there is a possibility.
That's my choice.
Yeah.
I don't know how. And I mean, even reading that story I read today at Ottawa, like he makes absolutely no commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
Except to say he likes Ottawa. I like Ottawa too.
My thing
nice
is
city.
if they the reason that I kind of go more with you, Dave, is because I think if they lose out on 13, I think they won't want to spend as much money and getting it. I mean, Harris is not the same amount as Riley, but he's still going to cost way more. And I could see them going with Jennings, where you might be able to get a deal and teach him in a system and put more money into those other spots.
Then Brian Burnham.
I think Andrew Harris. He'd be good too. I think Trevor Harris.
The hair eye.
I think Trevor Harris attracts receivers.
I could see that.
More so than Jonathan Jennings will.
That's true.
I think Mike Riley will attract receivers, but I think the next. I mean, he threw for 5,000 yards last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
He's been consistent, and he plays a throwing game. We've seen him throw the ball for 3 years in Ottawa now to that group of receivers. Right? What do they have? Like 3 times 1,000-yard guys, whatever. Yeah. So he attracts receivers, and I think there's obviously a relationship there. Brock knows him.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a possibility. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, there's so much possibility, but.
You need that first domino to fall.
I know, the first domino is going to...
We're all just scared to death.
Then we'll bring you back in here and we'll talk for 3 hours on where the domino...
Actually, we might need the second domino to fall because the first domino could be Bo Levi to the NFL.
Right. That's true. That's very true, yeah.
But the first one to sign in the CFL, that's going to be the first domino.
Yeah. Be very, very interesting. Well, as always, boys, this was outstanding. Love the conversation. Tell everyone again where they can find you on all of the Twitters and things to chat with you prior to the season starting.
Box.
Yes.
All right.
Snappy Box.
Twitter, Dave_Ched.
No, Twitter at Silky Smooth. Okay, yeah.
Right. Not changing it.
No.
And
thank you.
I'm on Facebook, but if I don't know you, don't bother. And I just signed up for Instagram for some stupid reason.
Wow.
You say that like you're a free agent. I just signed with Instagram. Promise me a starting role.
Lucrative contract. Playtime bonus.
And cookies.
Nice.
I think I'm D Campbell 630.
All right. Nice.
I don't know.
We'll find you.
On the Tweety Box, I am Morley_Scott.
Yes.
On the gram, as the kids call it, I am, or the IG, I am Morley_Scott.
Wow.
At the Snappy, I am MSW63. And at the Facebook, it's just don't bother.
That's right. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're like walking...
Unless I've had a meal in your house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
Totally agree. Right. And by the way...
And I am open for invites for meals. By the way.
I just gave you a cookie, so we're good.
Exactly. I had a meal at your house. I had lunch at your house.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I had to pay for it, but
it was fantastic.
That darn Snapchat on the road makes you act like a 5-year-old child. Because I'm like, where is Morley? He's back there taking snaps.
Were you here for the wrestling conversation, Dave? I believe that kind of cancels each other out.
You know why I like Snappy?
It's quick.
It keeps me young.
Exactly. That's what we've always said.
Twitter makes me feel old, but
use it a lot then.
Yeah, that's awesome. Super fan.
I don't even remember anymore. No, you can find me at 56 Parkies.
That's very true.
What's your Snappy?
Probably at 56 Parkies.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a Snappy. Does that sound appropriate?
No.
I'm not really sure. Okay, yeah.
Oh, my.
That's right. You can find me at Freepalicious, of course, the show at Esk Empire Pod. Thank you again to our sponsor, United Construction Company. Check out all their builds and everything on their website at unitedconstruction.ca and on Twitter at UCC_EDM. You down with UCC?
Yeah, you know me.
Oh, look at theirs. They're going to be very excited about that.
Should.
Make sure, of course, yeah, exactly. We have to do a new one. Make sure you find us on all of our social channels, which you can find all the links on eskempire.ca. We will be back in 2 weeks with, of course, lots of free agency talk as that opens up next Tuesday. We do hope to also have a returning guest that week. So I guess the question right now is, are we ready to see more EarthKwakus this year?
Absolutely.
For Dave, Morley, Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.